Something strange is happening with OpenAI's new image model. It's not what most people think. This isn't just a better image generator. It's not just more realistic. What's actually behind the scenes is a fundamental shift in how AI creates images. And if you understand this shift, you'll understand where all of this is going next. If you're new here, my name is Christian. I'm an AI automation expert, and today I'm breaking down how this technology actually works, not just what it does. Let's lock in for the next 5 to 10 minutes because we're going to be diving deep into the technology behind GPT Image 2.0, the most advanced AI image generator available right now. Before we even talk about how this model works, we need to quickly understand a few key terms, because if you don't understand these, nothing else is going to click. The first term is diffusion. Diffusion is the core technique behind most AI image generators. The simplest way to think about it is this: the model starts with pure noise, random pixels, and slowly turns that noise into a clean image step by step. The second term is a transformer. That is the same type of model that powers ChatGPT. It's designed to understand context, relationships, and meaning across large amounts of information. It's what allows AI to think and actually come up with responses to your inputs. The third term is the latent space. This sounds pretty complicated, but it's actually simple. It's just a compressed version of an image, a hidden representation where the AI does most of its work before turning it into real pixels. Think of it like a rough sketch before the final drawing. Now that we have that foundation, let's talk about how older image models actually work. Most models like Stable Diffusion, DALL 2, and even early versions of Midjourney rely heavily on diffusion. The process looks something like this. You give the model a text prompt. That text gets converted into a mathematical representation, and then the diffusion model starts with noise and gradually shapes it into an image that matches that prompt. Over dozens of steps, it removes noise and refines the image until you get the final result. And to be clear, this is incredibly powerful. This is what made AI image generation explode in the first place. But there's a heavy limitation here. These models don't actually understand what they're creating in a deep way. They're really good at recognizing patterns and matching text to visuals, but they're truly not reasoning through the structure of the image. That's why they struggle with things like clean layouts, readable text, or complex instructions. Some models tried to improve this. DALL 3, for example, focused heavily on better captions and prompt rewriting. Instead of just taking your input literally, it would expand and refine your prompt behind the scenes to get better results. Google's Imagine showed that stronger language models improve image quality. Stable Diffusion focused on efficiency and flexibility with something called Latent Diffusion, which allows it to run faster, and Midjourney optimized heavily for aesthetics, making images look visually stunning, even if they weren't always structurally perfect. But all of these systems still follow the same core idea. Take text, guided diffusion, process it to generate an image. Now, this is where things start to change with GPT Image 2. And here's something really important. We actually don't know exactly how this model works. OpenAI has not released a full technical paper. They haven't shared the architecture, the training data, or the exact methods being used, at least from when this video was released. It is April 27th, 2026. Hopefully in the future, they are releasing exactly how this model works. Maybe they won't. So everything we're about to talk about is based on the strongest available evidence, previous OpenAI disclosures, and how the model behaves in practice. But even without full transparency, the direction is very clear. Based on OpenAI's earlier work, especially with GPT 4.0, the most likely architecture is a hybrid system. Instead of just using diffusion alone, GPT Image 2 likely uses a transformer, a GPT-style model as a kind of brain that plans the image before it's created. So instead of going straight from text to pixels, the process looks more like this. You give it a prompt, the transformer deeply understands that prompt, builds a structured internal representation of what that image should look like, and then a diffusion model renders that plan into an actual image. This is the key shift. Older models generated images from text. This new approach understands the request first and then constructs the image. That might sound subtle, but it changes everything. And this explains why GPT Image 2 feels so much better in real-world use. First, text rendering. Because the model understands language at a deeper level, it can generate clean, readable text inside of images, which was a major weakness before. Second, layout and structure. Instead of guessing where things should go, it's actually planning the composition of the image. Third, fewer retries. Older models often required multiple attempts to get something usable. This one gets much closer on the first try because it understands intent. And fourth, editing. When you modify an image, it's not just randomly changing pixels. It understands what you're trying to do and applies changes more intelligently. And let me just throw this out there. all of these images that you're seeing in this presentation were generated by GPT Image 2.0. Take a look at this image right here. Look how detailed this is. So much information, zero mistakes. Previous models could have never replicated this. Maybe Nano Banana, but nowhere as good as what you're seeing right now on the screen. Pretty impressive stuff. So let's break this down with a quick comparison. We can see the different models compared, and as you go across, it gets better and better. Stable Diffusion, decent. DALL 2 might be even worse. It looks like it is worse than Stable Diffusion. DALL 3, we're making some pretty good improvements. Imagine, not very good. Midjourney, solid. And then you get over to where we are today. GPT Image 2 nails everything. It's still a little bit behind on accessibility. Now, I want to be clear that this model still isn't perfect. It still struggles with very precise text placement, consistent characters across multiple images, and very complex compositions. It's also a little bit slower than most of the models, but honestly, you'd rather wait an extra 10, 15 seconds for a much better image any day of the week. This isn't some magical system that solves everything overnight, but it's a major step forward. I also want to say that your prompting is super, super important for the output of this image. I would say the prompt is way more important for the image generation than it is for getting a text-based output. If I'm asking ChatGPT to make an email sequence for me, just text, no image output, my prompting matters a little bit less there versus the prompting when you're generating an image matters significantly more. This should be obvious, but I just thought I'd state that. So where does this all lead us to? What we're seeing right now is a transition. We're moving away from image generators that simply produce visuals to systems that actually understand and construct them. In the future, you won't just generate images, you'll design entire interfaces, build marketing assets. People are starting to do that now, and create visual systems, all through AI that understands what you're trying to achieve. So I guess the biggest takeaway is this: GPT Image 2 isn't just better because diffusion improvement, it's better because a language model is now driving the image creation process. And that shift from generation to understanding is what's going to define the next era of AI. I appreciate it for watching. If you made it to this point, I'm going to assume that you got some value out of this video, so a like would be much appreciated. And if you like these sort of videos, please subscribe. I'm dropping a couple videos like this every week, so do not miss out. And again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.